Hey guys, I'm Kate Rogers at Starbucks Investor Day in New York City, where the company just unveiled a slew of plans for the next few years that'll include things like upgrades to its loyalty program coming in March, also an upcoming AI companion for ordering through its app. But so much of Starbucks' turnaround plans are going to center and hinge on what's going on in its stores.
Starbucks is about to look very different in 2026, and honestly, you might not even recognize it. The world's largest coffee chain is going through its biggest transformation in decades, and the man running it openly admits the company was mismanaged for a couple of years. We're talking about hundreds of store closures, a 30% menu cut, completely redesigned locations, and a labor war that turned into the longest strike in company history. But here's what nobody's talking about. Starbucks secretly removed 30,000 seats from their stores over the last few years. They blocked electrical outlets, they turned coffee houses into glorified pickup counters, and now they're scrambling to undo all of it before customers abandon them for good. This is the real story of what went wrong at Starbucks, and why 2026 is their last chance to fix it. So who's the guy trying to save Starbucks? His name is Brian Niccol, and Starbucks paid him nearly $96 million to fix this mess. That's not a typo. They poached him from Chipotle in August 2024 because he's the turnaround king of fast food, the same guy who rescued Taco Bell and then rescued Chipotle. When a company pays someone nearly $100 million, you know they're desperate. His diagnosis came fast. The company had become obsessed with efficiency while completely losing sight of what made people love Starbucks in the first place. They were so focused on speed, supply chain, and productivity that they forgot they were supposed to be a place where people actually want to spend time. When Niccol looked at the previous CEO's strategy, which was called triple shot reinvention with 2 pumps, his response was legendary. He just said, "I don't know what that means." His strategy? 3 words. Back to Starbucks. Howard Schultz, the 71-year-old billionaire founder, loved it so much he told a crowd of 14,000 employees. When I heard Brian speak for the first time about Back to Starbucks, I did a cartwheel in my living room. Picture that for a second. The guy who built Starbucks into a global empire doing a cartwheel because someone finally understood what the company was supposed to be. Now let's talk about how badly Starbucks broke their own stores. 627 locations closed in just the 4th quarter of 2025. California got hit hardest with 150 closures. New York lost around 41 stores. Oregon lost 18. But those aren't even the interesting ones. Remember those pickup-only Starbucks locations? No seating, no atmosphere, just a counter where you grab your mobile order and leave? Starbucks is killing every single one of them. All 96 pickup-only stores will be gone by the end of fiscal 2026. A format they launched in 2019 and spent years expanding is being completely wiped out. Niccol called the format overly transactional and lacking the warmth and human connection that defines our brand. Translation: they built stores with zero soul and customers noticed. But here's the part that should make you angry. Over the last few years, the company deliberately removed 30,000 comfortable seats from their stores. They ripped out cushioned chairs and installed hard wooden stools. They blocked electrical outlets so you couldn't work there. They literally engineered their coffee houses to make you uncomfortable so you'd leave faster. Mike Grams, the chief operating officer, actually admitted it publicly. His words were, "Maybe over past years we lost our way a little bit on that." Maybe? They removed 30,000 seats. So what's replacing these soulless stores? Starbucks is calling it the coffee house of the future. These new stores have 32 seats, a drive-through, and cost 30% less to build. The first prototypes are already being tested in the Hamptons, and they're renovating at least 1,000 existing stores by the end of 2026, spending about $150,000 each to add back the seating and atmosphere they spent years ripping out. The redesigned stores include new lighting, better acoustics, locally inspired art, and different types of seating for different purposes. Cushioned armchairs for people who want to relax, high-top tables for quick meetings, actual power outlets so you can work on your laptop without hunting for the one socket they didn't cover up. The goal is making Starbucks feel less like a fast food restaurant and more like an actual coffee shop, which is insane when you think about it, because that's literally what they were supposed to be this whole time. The menu is getting gutted too, and baristas are relieved. It got so bloated that one worker posted online, "I should not be feeling like I walked into a burning building every time I start my shift." Customers were waiting forever. Baristas were overwhelmed. The menu had become a nightmare of modifications and seasonal items that nobody could keep track of. Niccol's solution? Cut 30% of the entire menu. Olive oil coffee drinks? Gone. Energy drinks? Gone. All those items that took forever to make and barely anyone ordered? Gone. But here's what might actually bring people back. Free refills now extend to everyone who stays in the cafe, not just rewards members. Condiment bars are back after disappearing during COVID. No more upcharge for oat milk or almond milk, which used to add up fast if you ordered every day. And baristas are writing on cups with Sharpies again, which sounds small until you realize Starbucks had basically automated the humanity out of the entire experience. The 2026 winter menu launches January 6th with new protein drinks and items cashing in on the Dubai chocolate trend. They're still innovating, just with fewer items clogging up the system. Speaking of automation, the mobile app became a monster. Over 70% of Starbucks sales now come from mobile orders and drive-thru. 70%. Howard Schultz went on a podcast and described the pickup area as a mosh pit. Think about what that means. Starbucks became so obsessed with mobile efficiency that 7 out of 10 customers don't even talk to a barista anymore. They walk in, grab a cup, and leave. That's not a coffee house. That's a vending machine with better lighting. Starbucks capped mobile orders at 12 items instead of 15 and built new technology called Smart Queue to sequence orders better. They claim 80% of cafe orders now hit a 4-minute target. A completely new app launches in 2026 with a rebuilt rewards program for their 34 million active members. Whether it fixes the problem or makes it worse is anyone's guess. Now here's where it gets ugly because employees are at war with the company. Starbucks cut about 2,000 corporate jobs in 2025 as part of a $1 billion restructuring. Meanwhile, over 11,000 baristas have unionized at more than 550 stores, and they've been fighting for a contract for 4 years with nothing to show for it. On Red Cup Day in November 2025, one of the biggest sales days of the year, the unionized workers launched a strike. It grew to 2,500 workers across 120 stores and became the longest strike in Starbucks history. The union says starting wages in 33 states are just $15.25 per hour. Starbucks claims compensation averages over $30 an hour with benefits. When the company offered 2% annual raises, 82% of delegates rejected it. And in December 2025, Starbucks paid $38.9 million to settle violations of New York City's Fair Workweek law. The city found 500,000 violations since 2021. 500,000 violations at a company that calls its employees partners. So is any of this actually working? Fourth quarter fiscal 2025 brought 5% revenue growth, hitting $9.6 billion. Full fiscal year revenue reached $37.2 billion, up 3%. Global comparable store sales increased 1%, which doesn't sound like much until you realize it was the first positive result in 7 consecutive quarters. After 6 straight quarters of declining sales, the bleeding has stopped. Niccol might actually be pulling this off, but here's my prediction. Starbucks spent years optimizing for speed. They removed the seats, they blocked the outlets, they turned coffee houses into what their own executive admitted felt more like fast food restaurants than gathering places. Customers left. Sales dropped for 6 straight quarters. The brand that defined American coffee culture started looking like every other fast casual chain. Niccol's betting everything that going backward is the only way forward. Ceramic mugs, comfortable seating, baristas who know your name. The third place that Schultz built the company on being resurrected from the dead. If it works, this becomes a business school case study in how to save a dying brand. If it fails, Starbucks becomes the next cautionary tale about companies that forgot why customers loved them in the first place. 2026 is the year we find out which one it's going to be. Subscribe if you want to see how this plays out and drop a comment. Do you think Starbucks can pull this off, or is it already too late? I'll see you in the next one.